Hi there, this is Sarah from Standing Up to Scoliosis and the Scolio Temple. I'm doing a video today because there's been sort of quite a bit of talk and posts about the cause of scoliosis. And obviously the cause is going to be it's different in every person, the actual mechanism of it, and the underlying genetic and biochemistry that person has and comes into the world with. But that doesn't mean that there aren't a lot of things that I've found and heard and read and from my own research and from my own experience that are common themes that are involved with scoliosis cause. And as a trained physical therapist, obviously I want to focus on the physical causes that can be physically worked on, because a physical force and a physical injury is going to get help from physical therapy. But obviously the biochemical and genetic things that are obviously shown to be involved, obviously there's been shown to be genetic mutations in the parts of the spine and the muscles that are involved, as there is in any illness. Genetic mutations can happen at any point in anyone's life. This has been studied well, that something can happen in the environment or an incident that can trigger the genes to mutate and whatever chronic health condition or illness to develop. So, but again, not saying that I think that scoliosis is a disease or illness such as other ones, that are usually triggered. But you can get scoliosis after having polio, for instance. That was such a common cause. And also obviously brain injury, spinal cord injury, stroke, these sort of things, cardiovascular, circulatory things. So obviously there are lots of different causes of scoliosis. We all know the different types. There's ones where the bones are malformed, right from the start, like a congenital one. But obviously the one that a lot of us are interested in is the mysterious idiopathic one that grows as a teenager, that isn't even there to start with as a child. How is this possible? How? And it's not a disease, because people who develop this are healthy and well and they're doing well, and a lot of people even that develop this are very physically active. They it seems like they're quite strong and fit and healthy, and then it's whoa, how the hell did that happen? You suddenly look in the mirror one day, or someone suddenly sees you when you bend over or something, and it's more common in women. So clearly there's probably biochemical factors involved that are going to dampen feminine sort of female hormones and stuff, and obviously the female body is more loose, more flexible, it's got more different, the female hormones that happen during puberty are going to affect the collagen. We're going to have less strong types, I can't remember what type it is, collagen, and we're going to have more. So obviously, yeah, things are structurally different in women's figures to men's. And a lot of, I've noticed as a physical therapist, a lot of exercise therapy, and training is that are invented by men. So actually, even my dance training, my professional dance training, I actually found wasn't fully suited to a female figure, with bigger hips and pelvis and holding a womb, and they're telling you in ballet, tuck the tail under, they're telling you turn the hips out, they're telling you to do all these things, and we know scoliosis is quite common in people who train as a dancer or do gymnastics, where these sort of postures, extended, more rigid, sort of masculine type postures are initiated. So yeah, maybe the female body, there's a lot of new research showing that these type of ways of exercising, Pilates and ways of exercising the pelvic floor, actually are not so effective in women's health. So exercise training and things for women, like, I think should be slightly different and adapted to the more like the wider hips and the narrower shoulders and the flow, you know, the different hormones that women have. But anyway, that's a sidetrack. So yeah, more common in women. But yeah, like the actual biomechanical cause of scoliosis. So this has been like discussed. So people are posting lots of videos like of surgeons like talking about what they see when they go in and operate. And I think this is really important because, you know, they can really see what's going on, like what tissues are stuck, what's stiff and what's flexible, like how exactly the shape is. Like they really get to see what's going on. And these are the videos that have taught me the most about the biomechanical cause. So someone posted a video recently about the discs, and like someone saying that they think that that this scoliosis is caused by rotation first and then extension and flexion. And they're saying that they've noticed in development, like the discs are not as stable. They don't like the soft tissue around the discs doesn't like support it doesn't get strong enough, like in people's, and they tend to like hyperextend back. So yeah, this surgeon have noticed this like mechanical thing, like, and with rotation, so like in physical therapy, when the spine rotates, mostly it does this in a flexed position. And when it side bends, it does it more in an extended position. So this is like a real, like, essential, like, basic 101, like, of scoliosis. And also, you keep in mind, you're also going to get more rotation in the thoracic spine and the lumbar spine is more designed for side bending. But you can get a bit of both. You can get some rotation in the lumbar and some, you know, obviously side bend in, but keep in mind that, yeah, the shape of the vertebrae is different lower down to higher up as well. But like overall, and this is what I've always felt, is like it's obviously a contrary condition that has compression and flexion and rotation, but it also has tension, extension, and, you know, and side bends. And mostly what we see neurologically, like when people have like sort of more serious nerve damage, people like go into like a high tone, like a reflex response. And now with idiopathic scoliosis, no serious nerve damage in any of the brain, the spinal cord, any of the peripheral nerves coming out of the spinal cord. There is no nerve damage that is seen on any scans. So this is where it seems so mysterious. And yeah, like obviously, yeah, there might be genetic and biochemical things going on. But how does that then disrupt the neurological growth and the, you know, the growth of the body, like mechanically? Like, because you can have toxins and diseases get in the system, but they don't, you know, they're going to have to get into the nervous system somehow to cause a scoliosis, like into the spine itself. Like the injury has to be affecting the spine that's going to cause spinal, you know, scoliosis. And I have talked about this a lot. Like so this one surgeon is saying that there's something like not formed and that the discs are unstable, and then there's like a flexion and rotation that happens first. So obviously, like, gravity is going to squash us first. So we're always going to go, like, if we're having like falling over or having an injury, it's always going to flex forward to fetal position. We're always going to fall with gravity first, because that is just the laws of like how it happens. Like, but then we're going to like tense back and try and resist gravity and hyperextend. So yeah, that's the order, like, I think it goes in, is like some sort of injury that's crushing or squashing the spine, and then a recoil extension. And for me, like, this is just my experience. I had a breech birth, but I was born literally folded in half. Like, I've talked about this lots, I had a whiplash injury that particularly has affected my thoracolumbar part of my spine, which is where the joints are unstable, like this guy talks about. So it's like there's like weakened, like lax, overstretched whiplash ligaments, but that has come after the crushing. So the crushing, and then the you know, there's like a whiplash, like sort of thing going on, and it's clearly an injury to my spinal ligaments at the part here where the curve goes the biggest. So for me, like, definitely, when I grew scoliosis as a teenager, I didn't feel I had a disease or an illness. I didn't feel there was anything wrong with me, apart from, like, I did always notice, even as a child, before a teenager, throughout my whole life, that there might have been some neurodevelopmental, like, stunting of growth. Like, I was just very short and skinny, like, and I lacked a lot of social confidence for that reason. So I think that and often I felt like I didn't fit in socially, like I was a little bit different, a bit outside the box from other people. So I actually feel like this neurodevelopmental problems that I feel were caused from my breech birth were actually there the whole time. But why did the spine only curve when I was a teenager? This is the question. This is a big question. And I have posted videos. So there's another video, a different surgeon, talking about spinal cord tethering. So how do I describe it? So he does a great video. Like, I don't need to show you this. He has a skeleton. It has a spinal cord through the bones, and he pulls the spinal cord. Tethering is shortening, where it's stuck and tight. So he pulls it from the tailbone, and the spine hyperextends and locks back. So why is it pulling and hyperextending and locking back? Well, maybe if it was overstretched and there was a crushing compressive injury, it might recoil and extend back and lock, you know, to hold the body in a position while it heals this damaged injury. So like a breech birth. So he's shown it's shortened. And then, so this, and also, by the way, like, there can be nerve tethering of peripheral nerves as well, like going into arms and like going into the hips. Like, hip can be shortened and look like there's a leg length discrepancy. So like, you're having people with scoliosis, you know, they're most idiopathic scoliosis shown to have this like hyperextension. The head is locked back, the tail, pelvis is tipped back, but you know, so like, some people are focusing on their therapy programs of like getting the body into flexion again, which is totally understandable because it's stuck back. But obviously, if the root cause was flexion and compression first, crushing, and the body's done that as a defense mechanism, you know, you have to be careful then going too far into flexion. So then there's other programs for scoliosis. This is where it gets so complicated. Other programs that are all upright. They're like all focusing, like with bands and bars, they're all focusing on the lengthening and the tensioning because the bones are crushed. So, you know, like, initially you would think that seems like the safer option, like to focus on the lengthening, the bones are squashed, like it seems most, you know, logical. But yeah, in actual reality, the you know, the spine is like, this happens very often with any kind of spinal injury, like this, probably anything like you see as a therapist, people have that, like someone with a disc injury, say, right, this is actually, the scan is showing it's like over compressed and the disc is bulging out. But when the person presents to you as a therapist, often they're like locked back in a defense mode. So there's always these two opposite forces going on in the body. And as a therapist, you have to work with both. Like, you can't just do the lengthening and stretching, and you can't just do the, no, this person's too tense, they need to relax more and like go, you know, you have to do both, literally. But yeah, so why, if the spinal cord is shortened and any peripheral nerves are shortened, like in a reflex recoil, like to defend the body, the joints from being dislocated, things from being more seriously damaged, like, why then during the growth spurt does the spine, the bones bend? Well, this video shows you amazingly that because the nerves are stuck in the soft tissue, so you can have soft tissues that are stuck and the nerves tethering stuck in them. It could be in ligaments, it could be, you know, it could be anywhere. I mean, it could be right at the bottom of the spine by the pelvis where it's stuck. I mean, I've spoke to people with scoliosis that developed like a really small curve who fell on really bad on their coccyx, you know, like before they developed and grew. Like the injury could happen anywhere. So, you know, you want to find where the root of this injury is. And for me personally, it's all here. And I actually do have a little bit going on around the sacral pelvic area as well. I have to say that I do get quite a lot out of pelvic work and like leg sort of rotations and stretches and like trying to free up the soft tissues down in my pelvis as well as here. And then also my shoulder was slightly affected as well, like crossed over where the rib hump came. So like it's not always one area that's been injured, like or compromised, but the problem is these injuries, like especially if they happen when you're really young, like at birth or even in the womb or in early childhood, like so you don't remember it, these you heal from them really well. Like the body regenerates and heals really well the younger you are. So these injuries don't show up on typical MRI scans that doctors show because they're not the big nerves that are damaged. Yes, I'm saying that those nerves are tethered and stuck, but they're not damaged, they're not severed, they're not, you know, it's like very subtle. They're stuck in the soft tissues that are like a bit stiffer, tightened, shortened. And these soft tissues, like they morph and change in the body, they flow with the blood flow, like, and there's lots of little nerve receptors, little proprioceptors, free nerve endings throughout all of this soft tissue that is not the big nerves. So you can have, and also even these free nerve endings might not be damaged like and totally cut or disappeared in a scan. They're still there, it's just that they're functioning differently. They are not, like this is how neuropathic pain can start. Like these free nerve endings are like overfiring, oversensitive, like, you know, these type of things, they are really hard to show in scans like medical people do, but that doesn't mean they're not real things going on in your nervous system, that you don't have real like dampened sort of weakened nerves that have had trauma. You know, it's just that with a scoliosis, like someone said to me, oh, loads of people have lots of injuries and trauma, but they don't develop like such a severe postural problem. And I'm going to say, yeah, definitely. Like all injuries in the body that can happen to anyone will pull the body slightly out of balance. So this is why scoliosis is so common in adult, like as older person, because, you know, and you see that older people, they bend more and more forward, and then they get this kyphoscoliosis. Like it's more common when you're older because older people have had a build-up of lots of injuries throughout their life that have pulled, the body's tried to heal and compensate and back, but eventually like too many have happened and it's just lost its integrity, it's just got too far out of balance, you know. But yeah, with an idiopathic scoliosis, like it can seem like because you're so young, these things look like they've healed quite well, but they're still, you know, it would have probably been more of a violent, dramatic injury happening. And when you're a child, you know, obviously you don't have the nervous system to defend yourself either, you don't have the strength. So if an injury might not seem that bad to an adult if it happened to them, if it happened to you as a poor defenseless baby, like that could really affect the whole system and then neurodevelopmentally affect you. But, you know, obviously as a child you disguise it well. Children are so mobile and like learn so quick, but then when you grow, have this growth spurt, if this bit of fat tissue is still stuck from this awful like fall that you had, or whiplash, or whatever it was, then unfortunately, if that's not dealt with like at the time, and you know, like, I don't think all these things can be totally cured or corrected, because I do feel like, even though I think mostly mine's caused by physical, biomechanical causes, which is why I went to train to be a physical therapist, because that felt most intuitive to me, I still feel like then, once you've had like a bit of injury and damage, then you become more oversensitive, because some nerves get like dampened, and they like more, you know, they're not like tense and as strong and firing as well, like, and some are like oversensitive and over hyperextended. Like, I think that it's like you become a more oversensitive person, and like I think you, like a sponge, you can soak in more toxins from the environment. But yeah, like I do have a discussion, maybe sometimes the toxins and things can get in first, and it can be that interrupting the hormonal development. So look, there's lots of different causes of scoliosis, but if you want to work like as a physical therapist and find things, you know, that can actually help you, you have to like really find what's specifically gone wrong with you. And a lot of surgeons have noticed this spinal cord tethering, and disc instability, and the like flexional rotate, you know, they've noticed the biomechanics of what's going on with these people. So a lot of them do think that there are a lot of physical causes going on, because it's such a physical condition. But that doesn't mean that the underlying root cause, you know, below all of the physical injuries and stuff, that there isn't a biochemical thing going on that could be linked with someone's DNA. You know, it literally doesn't mean we should rule those things out, but it does mean we can have an open mind and be positive and hopeful that those like genetic, biochemical like things, that you know, they can be changed and altered, like with the environment around us and the ways we behave, the things we eat. You know, things we eat are so important to changing our genetic makeup. Like, there's so many studies showing this, and the environment we live in, like, you know, like there's quite a lot of cases. I've read a book about epigenetics of people getting diabetes and MS living in colder countries, and I find this interesting, because I think to myself, what if you are a person who is meant to be living in a warmer country? Like, you can't, your ancestry traveled from a warmer environment into a colder one, and you struggled to adapt to that. And that's why you got this like illness. Like, I do wonder, because I live in like quite a cooler country, and I feel like my back is a lot better, like if I'm in the Mediterranean and I'm in this warm country with all this olive oil lubricating my joints and sunshine and beautiful flowers everywhere. Like, I don't know, like I just I think that the environment we live in, the type of weather, the weather that's around, whether it's cold or hot, windy, rainy, humid, like maybe some people like, you know, like these tropical climates, or like, I think these things do affect our DNA and our cells and the way they grow and develop. I mean, look at nature, look at trees growing, look at plants. I mean, the environment is everything, like the weather, if it's got enough water, the nutrients that it has, and the other plants around, like whether they're supporting this tree when it grows, or whether this tree is like battling for space, or, you know, lots of competition around. Like, there's so many, like, so I'm a big believer of environmental things and being able to you know, being able to do things to try and help yourself, like to try and I don't believe in like just bowing down and giving in to something like that. It doesn't feel like it's really me. So like, you could say, like, I've heard people like with these horrible theories, you know, like, oh, like you were meant to get this, like it's just who you are, like you are your scoliosis, like it's your karma, like this has come, you know, God's done this to you, whatever. I've had these horrible like things that I'm not sure I really believe in to be true. Like, you can't you know, this is like a whole spiritual perspective on the cause of scoliosis. But yeah, no one could come up with like a really good reason why that was so, though, for me. Like, that didn't sit well with me at all. And like, especially because I don't see myself as a bad person at all. I mean, who does? Who sees himself as a bad person who deserves to have a disability or illness or whatever? Like, I don't think anyone does. I think it's just a product of the environment and what we've inherited from our mother. You know, I think sometimes it can be just a combination of bad luck. Like, this formula mixed this recipe and it looked like it, you know, it was great, it was going to be great chemistry, but then the environment around it didn't, like, you know. I just think that there's so many things that are out of our control, and like, I think that anyone can become ill or injured or have anything happen to them at any point. And I just think, like, yeah, I don't go with the whole spiritual karmic stuff, really. But I do think that there are, having said that, I do think there are psychological personality traits that do match the posture, do match our posture and the way we grow. Like, so, but no, I'm a scientist. Like, yeah, maybe there's an afterlife, maybe there's a, you know, like, but I definitely believe in biochemical, like, environmental things being the root cause of what's going on, and physical, you know, injuries and things. And if we help that person after a physical injury, to help support them and release this bit that was damaged to grow back again, they're going to have less issues. Like, and I know I'm not my scoliosis. I know that I don't reach my full potential in life, because I always feel like I'm a bit off center, that this flow of energy is not coming properly. Like, yeah, like, I don't see that as like, oh, my soul was meant to have this, it's my karma. Like, I don't really go with those theories like so much. I mean, the religious sort of spiritual stuff is interesting and how it influences us. And I do think that you can, I mean, there is some interesting science to show that your DNA can have trauma that your ancestors suffered and all this. You know, and sometimes we can inherit more DNA or characteristics from certain relatives and people than others. So we might think, oh, we're nothing like my parents, but I'm really like my auntie so-and-so, or like this my cousin, or whatever. And I think there's definitely something in that. But I also think that we can be the change that we want to be. Like, we can choose the path that we want to choose. Like, in a way, like, I mean, yeah, our experience sort of does form us and enables us to then choose what we want to do. And unfortunately, some people do inherit some horrible things that have happened to their ancestors and people in their past. But like, yeah, we don't have to focus on all those dark, bad things. We can like choose to be the change and focus on the things that we want, that we feel like suit us, that are right for us, and live that life instead. And maybe there are psychological, spiritual lessons to be learned from mistakes of our ancestors. I'm not sure I go with that, like, it's my fault from a past life and all that stuff. But equally, you know, you do learn from suffering. You learn from having a disability. There are things that you can learn from that experience, but it doesn't mean that you were like bad or wrong, or like often I see other people who haven't been disabled or ill, and I see their misjudgments of me. Like, I feel like things they're thinking, like, oh, she's done this to cause it to herself, like, it's her, you know. There are a lot of preconceived beliefs that people can have about people with health problems, which I now look at and I'm like, okay, so I have learned from having this, like, that actually, you know, it wasn't my fault that I've got this. I'm not doing things to keep this worse. You know, like, it can be very unfortunate and unfair, sadly, but that doesn't mean that I think that there aren't things we can do to help ourselves and to not be a victim all the time. But anyway, that's a whole other discussion. I always try to keep my page scientific, So yeah, I hope everyone has a good day, and hope that those explanations made any sense. Bye.